It's not often that I prefer for somebody to be lying, but that's definitely the case off the recent comments from Kevin Colbert at the NFL Combine in Indianapolis. This is another edition of Mic Drop here on Pittsburgh Sports Live, coming at you from the Beaver County Auto Studios up above Market Square here in downtown Pittsburgh. I'm your host, Mike Asti, and Kevin Colbert wants all of you to believe there's no drama. There's been no drama. He doesn't even know why the Steelers season, the Steelers last couple seasons, the Steelers off season is being classified as drama. Well, guys, I'm here to tell you that he knows it's drama. He knows there's been drama. He's trying to accomplish one of two things, but we'll tackle them one at a time here, and let's start things off. Here it is. This is a quote I threw up there on my Twitter account. I don't believe there was drama in our locker room. I have a complete disagreement with anything that says our locker room was anything but functional. And I added there, said a completely delusional or lying Kevin Colbert. Because, guys, Kevin Colbert is either delusional, completely out of his mind delusional, just in a fog walking around the Steelers facility, the same Steelers facility that I walked around during the Steelers season, or he's simply lying. And I'm going to tell you that I believe him to be lying because, number one, Kevin Colbert, a guy that I've been around, a guy that many of my colleagues have been around a lot more often, and I've talked to them about Kevin Colbert, a guy that's been around with the Steelers a long time and has been a part of the success of the Pittsburgh Steelers over his tenure. Like it or not, they've been successful over his tenure, and he's been there a while, a part of the staple of the Pittsburgh Steelers, really, in this Mike Tomlin era and even a little bit before. He's a family guy. He's a nice guy. He's an intelligent football mind that's worked his way up all the way from the bottom to now being here with the Pittsburgh Steelers. I even actually got to know his daughter and got to know the rest of his family a little bit from work I've done with another media outlet outside of sports, and even my past venture running Trib Live Radio, and the fact that his daughter was a part of a PR firm that worked with us there. So I know Kevin Colbert, I know his family, I know him as a guy, and this is not a stupid man. This is not a guy that is dumb. This is not a guy that is going to just not understand an environment. This is not somebody that's not going to get the pulse of an area. This is not a guy that's been there on the job with many of these players for a decade that's not going to have any idea what's going on. Especially when you, the fans, and us, the media, know what's going on there. He's going to get that just the same as all of us. And as we detailed on SteelersNow.com, again, part of the Pittsburgh Sports Now family, venture over to SteelersNow.com for all of this content and all our written content involving our coverage with the Pittsburgh Steelers. But he discussed Antonio Brown, discussed Ryan Shazier and the rest of the Steelers offseason and different news and notes during his time with the media at the NFL Combine in Indianapolis, and that's great. He's very open. He's somebody that is open and honest, maybe even more so than, say, Mike Tomlin, the head coach of the Steelers, or many of the players on the Steelers. So, again, he's a guy that we're used to having be honest. He's a guy that I can certainly tell you is very intelligent and usually knows what's going on. And yet, again, here, read this one if you missed it earlier. I don't believe there was drama in our locker room. Right there. That makes no sense. Right there. You guys know that's not true. I don't believe there was drama in our locker room. I have a complete disagreement with anything that says our locker room was anything but functional. Again, first off, if your locker room was functional with that talent and was not dramatic with that talent, then it really is crazy and asinine for you to miss the postseason. And I detailed in past shows all the games they should have won that they did not win, and we know about the missed calls and different issues that led to them not making the postseason. And it was a team that absolutely should have made the postseason, even in spite of their drama, because of the talent they had. And this doesn't even include Le'Veon Bell, who obviously wasn't there all year. This is a season with Antonio Brown. They did not make the postseason, and Juju and Big Ben and the defense, and that's a roster that should have at least made the postseason, even if it wasn't necessarily built to win a championship, as we saw from the prior few seasons. But again, this is not a dumb guy. This is not somebody that doesn't know what's going on. So guys, he was flat lying to you. Kevin Colbert was flat lying when he said he did not believe there was drama. He did not understand there being drama. He did not know why people were saying there was drama. He completely disagrees with anything that says there was any kind of drama here. Because everybody in media, everybody and their brother, even guys with blogs, are saying there's drama. It's the simplest of things. Regardless of what side you're on, whether you're on the side of Antonio Brown and somehow feel like he was victimized by the Steelers for many, many years, as crazy as a notion as that is, whether you're on Big Ben's side and want to defend him at every look, and he certainly has some share in the blame here. Whether you're on the side of the Steelers, whether you're on the Steelers management side and feel like they've done their part and these guys are acting a fool, or whether you're on the side that everybody kind of played a role here, and then Antonio Brown, Le'Veon Bell, they kind of acted unprofessional and ran amok, and their egos were out of control and maybe played their hands poorly, and certainly now are acting a little bit like clowns, at least in terms of Antonio Brown this offseason and all his Instagram videos there, which I'm able to see those. I can't see the tweets, though. Still has me blocked there, as funny as that is. But I can say that I've accomplished the same thing, one thing that Ed Bouchette has, the most tenured and Hall of Fame reporter that covers the Steelers, and that is being blocked by Antonio Brown. And not all of us in Steelers media have been blocked by him, but the two of us have. So I'll take that as something to brag about and brush my shoulders off there. But regardless of your feelings, regardless of who shares more of the blame and how you're dishing out the pie of the Steelers' blame for it being dysfunctional, it being a team that missed the postseason, it being a team that underachieved, and it being a team that was filled with drama, nobody feels there wasn't drama, and nobody would not classify any of this as drama, no matter what side you're on. There's drama. Everybody can agree. We're a very, very divided world. We're a very, very divided world. We don't agree on much in this world today. In the post-Trump and Hillary 2016 election, we don't agree on much today. We don't even agree on much in sports. As simple as that. And as unimportant as that really in the grand scheme of things. We don't agree on much. Many of you may not agree with most things I say, or maybe you do, whatever. But I think we all can join hands and sing Kumbaya and agree that the Steelers, the players, the coaches, the overall collective was drama this past season, if not longer than that. I would point to 2, 3, 4 years of drama like this, all with Kevin Colbert leading the ship. But I like the guy. He's intelligent. He's doing this as a complete lie. A complete lie. Kevin Colbert is lying to you. A complete lie. To try to minimize the damage of this offseason, to try to minimize the issues that have been going on because of this. He wants the value to be there for Antonio Brown. Kevin Colbert wants Antonio Brown traded now. It took them a while. They should have got there a while ago, and I was saying for months, really, from even before Week 17, that the Steelers must trade Antonio Brown. They had to part ways with Antonio Brown. He was becoming more trouble than he's worth, as great as he is on the field. And it was a T.O. Randy Moss type situation where you just had to move on. They didn't get there with me back then, but they finally got there with me at this point. And Antonio Brown officially requests a trade, and the Steelers finally are going to capitulate, or at least going to try to grant him that trade. They had that little closed-door meeting in Florida, and Antonio Brown said it was the first time that he met with Art Rooney II as Antonio Brown and not AB84 or Mr. Big Chest, as he now loves to be called. I guess he wasn't Mr. Big Chest for a moment there for the meeting. His agent, him, Kevin Colbert was there, Art Rooney II, the rest of the Steelers brass, all there. And they finally all agree they're going to try to move Antonio Brown, and it's the best thing for everybody to divorce and to move on. And they had to do that. It was irreconcilable differences for this divorce now. And they should have got there sooner, but they're now all there. But they know they're not. They're intelligent as well. And this goes back to what I was saying about Kevin Colbert, like it or not. He is an intelligent guy, and so are the Steelers. They're not going to get ripped off. They want to get value back. They know they have to move on. Now it's irreconcilable. And Antonio Brown spent weeks trying to really act a fool on social media. This whole Mr. Big Chest and doing interviews high and going to the Grammys and taking pictures with Post Malone and actually being the more ridiculous guy in the video and in the image based on his little Hulk Hogan Fu Manchu mustache. It's a blonde mustache somehow with the black dreads. But as crazy and ridiculous as Antonio Brown's been on social media and just in general, I don't know if it was a directive from his agent or in his brain or what was going on, but Drew Rosenhaus, the guy that dealt with T.O. back with the Eagles in the early part of the 2000s, when year after they went to the Super Bowl, he ended up getting T.O. off that team, ended up helping him get deactivated from that team. They weren't going to re-sign him. He wanted more money. It became tons of drama. We know the egos. We know the store. We know the sit-ups in the driveway. Drew Rosenhaus led that ship because T.O. kind of wanted out of there, wanted released, didn't want to worry about a trade. Well, that's maybe the directive he was saying to Antonio Brown. Maybe he was telling Antonio Brown that, hey, really get nuts on social media and force the Steelers' hand. Well, Kevin Colbert and the Pittsburgh Steelers aren't that dumb. They either saw right through this or regardless of what was going on, they wanted to make sure they're getting value back. They don't want to cripple themselves on the field just to cooperate with Antonio Brown off the field. Now, I know they have Juju, and I know that James Washington could fill in. I mentioned that before, and Big Ben loves them, and he can maybe get some numbers, and the receiver position is an easier position to replace than some other positions, and they plugged Connor in for Bell, and I get all that, and they're still going to score some points. But they don't want to get ripped off here. They're a smart franchise. They want to try to get some value back for who many believe, and I believe, to be the best receiver in football when healthy. And really, whether he's insane or sane, he's the best receiver in football when on the field. Even last year, which was a bit of a dip, still one of the greatest receiving seasons in NFL history, one of the greatest receiving seasons of the era. Wasn't even team MVP, maybe not even a better year than Juju, his own teammate. Shows maybe he is replaceable, but doesn't mean AB is still not getting it done. And it doesn't mean that as great as he still is, and if you're saying that's a dip from years prior, that just shows how great he was then in years prior, and maybe those seasons were some of the best in NFL history as well, and maybe then he was the best receiver in football even before many were calling him that. But to me now, he is the best receiver in football. And I'm not going to go into the teams and his destinations. I'll do that on other shows, and I've done that on past shows, and Green Bay and San Fran where he wants to be, and it being different for Green Bay to bring in a guy like this and turning down Moss years ago, and the Panthers, and if they can bring any value and work a trade in, or the Buccaneers, which has been brought up on a national outlet, and Deshaun Jackson, who's much older, and that really wouldn't be enough, but maybe that being discussed, and where he maybe could go. Seattle, Oakland, these have been brought up, the Jets. And obviously, Kevin Colbert would rather send Antonio Brown to the NFC. He'd rather send him to the NFC. The less you would play him, the better. But if a team comes through with the best compensation, we have to balance that out. Okay, we're going to play him twice a year, but we're going to get the best compensation. So it's our job to do the better job with the compensation, and you have to weigh all that into discussion. There it is. That's part of the whole press conference in which Kevin Colbert said there was no drama. Doesn't agree with anybody who says there was any type of drama. He also gave you that truth serum that they want value for Antonio Brown, and they're trying to lie about the drama, minimize the damage, and not keep it as real as he has in the past, and as I know he could with all of you, and maybe to other teams, and try to hope it would somehow get into their head that Antonio Brown's drama is not all that bad, and he's still the best receiver in football, and we're just going to move on, but we got to get value back. So Kevin Colbert was lying with those quotes. He was lying when he said this. When he said this, I don't believe there was drama in our locker room. I have a complete disagreement with anything that says our locker room was anything but functional. Complete lie. Complete lie. I don't believe he's that delusional. But he's either delusional, really, really delusional, as I put in the tweet, or he's lying, and I'm going to lean that he was flat lying to try to get value for AB, because the value back is the key thing. They don't want to play him twice a year. They don't want to trade him within the division. They don't want to trade him to the Patriots or even the Chiefs, who are coming up now in the AFC as teams that may vie for the AFC crown as well. They don't want to trade him really to any team in the AFC because they'd have to play him. They want to ship him out to the NFC and be across the country and not worry about him unless it's a Super Bowl or once every few years. But they also want to make sure the value's there, and they want to get value back for him, especially when Amari Cooper goes for a first-round pick in that Raiders-Cowboys trade this past season. And I know that T.O. and Moss didn't go for those years ago, but it's a different era. Teams are more desperate now. It was indicative of last year with the Cooper trade, and he did end up becoming an impactful player for the Cowboys last year to get into the postseason, and they want value back. So that's what that is. That's really what that is. He just was lying. He knows there was drama. He was just lying because he wants to try to fool people into minimizing it to keep that value up. Now, the other issue, though, is, before I round things out, that it's a complete insult to our intelligence. And I don't think this is going to work. He's claiming there are still tons of offers, and I'm sure there are. And maybe this will happen during the NFL draft. We'll see. Probably will. But it's still going to be very difficult to maneuver this trade because they want the value, because there's not many teams that can give them the value, that have the cap space, that have the draft slot, that have the need, that are desperate enough. That's really what you need to find. Still easier said than done to work this deal, but I do believe in my heart of hearts it'll happen. Rooney said even before that meeting he couldn't envision a scenario where Antonio Brown is with the Steelers come training camp. So if he can't envision that and he's a Rooney, I highly doubt it's happening. But they're not going to get ripped off either, and they're not going to release him. But I also don't believe, as crazy as Antonio Brown's been, everybody has social media. Everybody knows what's going on. It's public out there. It's not just certain media members. It's not just insider information from Ed Bouchette that really knows. The other teams, their fans, their players, their management, they all know. I mean, Kevin Colbert's insulting the intelligence of fans, media, and opposing fans, media, players, management by saying that there was no drama. It actually makes the team look worse for missing the postseason last year and for the struggles of the last couple seasons in terms of underachieving. It makes the team look worse when you lose to the Raiders, to the Broncos, tie the Browns before Baker Mayfield, and have those losses that actually end up costing you and missing the postseason, blowing a 16-point lead to the Chargers on national TV. If there's no drama and you have a talented roster and you had expectations going into the year, then what the hell? What then was the problem? That's what the follow-up I would have loved to ask, but I wasn't down there. So he's insulting the intelligence by saying this. Of course, he's lying to up the Antonio Brown value, and he wants value back. Great, I get it. That's what I'm saying here to anybody who didn't get this. But at the same time, he's insulting the intelligence of everybody out there. Because the news of we just want that top compensation, well, sure you do. And sure, you'd also ideally like to not play him that often and ship him out to the NFC and across the country to really Siberia or the AAF or the XFL or wherever. But you can't fool anybody now. I mean, this is worse than T.O. and Randy Moss back in the early 2000s and years after. This is the social media age. This is in the prime of the social media age. This is right now peak. Everybody knows everything, everyone's business every second. When Antonio Brown has millions of followers and he puts his craziness and insanity out there, of a sound, sober mind or not, everyone's going to find out. Even if you're blocked from him, you're going to find out, guys. It's out there. This has become national news. Like it or not, everyone's kind of interested in this, and he has controlled the offseason, so he got that. His ego gets massaged there. Everyone's waiting and seeing what he's doing. He's gaining the interest there, and if you say you don't care, you're probably lying. You do. That's why when we talk about him, the shows do well. He is garnering the interest this offseason. But he's insulting the intelligence for that reason. You can't fool or pull the wool over anyone's eyes when it comes to the Steelers having drama, when it comes to trying to minimize any damage that Antonio Brown's done. You wouldn't be trading the best receiver in football and want to move on from the best receiver in football that everybody now agrees is the best receiver in football unless there was something going on off the field. He had over 1,000 yards. He had over 100 catches. He had 15 touchdown receptions this past year. And many said that wasn't even the best season for a receiver on the team. Many said that was worse than the last few years and he was declining. So if that's a decline, that shows how great he is. And Juju will see what it's like not to have AB and to be the number one next year. And for years after, regardless of who's with them. Because no one's going to garner those double teams like AB's been and open up that space for Juju. That's really been a benefit to Juju and helped his numbers. He'll rue the day maybe that Antonio Brown's not around, and I'm not saying he wants AB gone. He said he does not, but it'll affect Juju on the field not having Antonio Brown there to garner that much attention from the defense and give him so much more space and single coverage all the time. But think about it, and he'll be the player that teams will scheme against now on the Steelers offense, besides Big Ben. But you're not going to fool anyone. You're just not. It's out there. But all of this tells you that he's definitely gone. All of this tells you that they're just posturing and they're trying to find the right fit and get the proper compensation. And I'm sure there are teams who are interested. And all of this from Kevin Colbert, his lies, not that delusional, even though that's the other option, but his pure lies out there on saying here that I don't believe there was drama in our locker room, and I have a complete disagreement with anything that says our locker room had drama. Come on. He wants to trade Antonio Brown. He wants to get the value, and this is even part of it too. The Adam Schefter tweet, interest has grown. Kevin Colbert on a possible Antonio Brown trade. Ideally, you trade him to someone you never play, blah, blah, blah. That's what I was articulating on the Steelers Now article too. He ideally wouldn't move him in the division to a rival, to anybody in the AFC, but he'll do whatever he can for the most compensation. He wants to get value back, and he has to get value back, or he knows that AB will have actually won this offseason of just insane drama. And yes, it was drama. But AB didn't get his way. He's not going to be released. There will be a trade. He won't be on the team next year. Kevin Colbert's doing his best, his damnedest, to try to get the most value for him. And that means lying sometimes. That means minimizing or really, misrepresenting the truth. But it's not going to work. No one's that stupid. Maybe some fans out there, guys, but not those other opposing management groups, not those other franchises. Even the worst of the worst are going to be able to see right through that. All they have to do is follow AB on social media, hit up his Instagram, and follow him on Instagram for a few days and look at those stories on IG or Snapchat. You'll know what's going on. They read the articles. They maybe saw, there it is, the Pittsburgh Sports Live videos. They heard and saw a mic drop a little bit here on Pittsburgh Sports Live. And they know. So Kevin Colbert's trying to lie. He is lying. He's not that delusional, but it's either that he's delusional or a pure liar. And he's doing it to try to get value for Antonio Brown. But I'm sure there's interest. I don't know if there's as much as he's saying. This is harder than he thinks. I don't believe there's all that interest that he's claiming. Teams are clamoring and just calling him off the hook. I'm sure there's interest. I'm sure some teams are. But he's still not going to do it in the AFC. He wants that value, and it's harder when teams know they kind of have him by the balls because this has to happen. So this is all posturing from Kevin Colbert. This is all playing the game, but we'll see where this ends and where he does eventually end up. And again, as we all wonder that, new betting odds on possible Antonio Brown trade destinations. That's one of the gems that we've discussed this at SteelersNow.com in terms of where Antonio Brown may end up. I've done shows on this. Go back, go through the scroll. Scroll through Mic Drop here, Pittsburgh Sports Live. Scroll through Mic Drop. And It'll be clear to you. There it is. Follow my Twitter, even at MikeAsti11. You'll find it all linked up there. That it's easier said than done, but I'll go through it. Even did a show going 1-19, the NFL draft, all the picks in front of the Steelers. Those teams, whether it was possible or they really could do, whether there really would be an interest, whether it made sense throughout the history. We've done tons of those articles as well on SteelersNow.com. Make sure, though, to follow up with our family of networks. Of course, this is the most important. Click subscribe here, Pittsburgh Sports Live. Click subscribe. It's easy for us to get this content to you when you click subscribe. Don't have to worry about any of our promotion. It's right there for you. And when you do that, you'll immediately get notified. So why not? But easy for you to do. Click subscribe on the Pittsburgh Sports Live tab there here on the YouTube channel. Also make sure to hit us up on Twitter at PGH Sports Live on Twitter. Also at PGH Steelers Now on Twitter for the Steelers Now venture, SteelersNow.com. Go to PittsburghSportsNow.com, PittsburghHockeyNow.com, PittsburghSoccerNow.com, and again, SteelersNow.com. Follow me on Twitter at MikeAsti11. And there's been drama. There's going to be drama. There's currently drama. There's always drama around the Pittsburgh Steelers. But even in a time where there's not as much drama, because there's been kind of a week of a lull, we had the Steelers, obviously, with the rest of the NFL at the Combine. Antonio Brown and the Steelers agree they're going to part ways, but he's still sitting around waiting for the trade. The NFL draft has not yet happened yet. We're still far from training camp and the full swing of the offseason, but there's been tons of drama. And even when there's not drama around the Pittsburgh Steelers, we're still having to discuss drama around the Pittsburgh Steelers because somebody, Kevin Colbert this time, is claiming, and here it is, claiming that the drama that's been has not actually been dramatic. Well, he's lying, guys, because clearly it's been dramatic. This has been another Radio Gold edition about all the drama, but not drama in and of itself here of Mike Drop on Pittsburgh Sports Live. I want to thank our sponsors for making this all happen, especially Beaver County Auto here in the Beaver County Auto Studios up above Market Square here in downtown Pittsburgh. I'm your host, Mike Asti, keeping it real, unlike Kevin Colbert, on the drama and just loving every minute of it, I got to say. Just kind of, I will say, I soak up the train wreck that has been the Pittsburgh Steelers drama, and you just can't look away.